you're a fan of Stranger Things, then you will know that the show isn't exactly a comedy series, and you will understand how serious the cast can be. But this doesn't mean there are no hilarious scenes or stolen moments where the characters do funny things. We go from hilarious moments with Dustin to Erica giving us wild laughs when she comes at her brother and the gang. These moments have given us just the right amount of comedy the show needs. Today, we're going to show you funny moments and funny scenes in Stranger Things. Grab your popcorn, guys! But first, a simple reminder on how to enter our brand new giveaway. We're giving away either an iPhone X Max, the new iPad mini, or a MacBook Pro. It's all your choice, so be sure to leave a like, comment the keyword, subscribe, and turn on notifications to enter this giveaway. It's really that simple. First is the scene at Will's burial in Season 1, Chapter 4, The Body. Jennifer Hayes went to Hawkins Middle, and she attended Will's funeral. During the funeral, Dustin saw her crying. Well, you may think, of course she's allowed to cry. It's a funeral, but not Dustin. When he saw her cry, he laughed and told his friends, just wait till we tell Will that Jennifer Hayes was crying at his funeral. The gang found it funny, but they were shushed just before their laughter came rolling in. Next is the scene where Erica Sinclair exchanges words with her brother Lucas at the mall. Erica was hanging out with her friends at the Star Court Mall when Lucas, Mike, Will, and Max came to the mall to sneak in to see the new George Romero movie. At the mall, someone told Lucas, watch it, and Erica goes, yeah, watch it, nerd. And Lucas says, isn't it past your bedtime? And she says, isn't it time for you to die? They go on trading insults and calling each other psycho, butthead, mall rat, fart face, till they exit the scene. The two just never settle. Siblings, right? The next scene is the Welcome Home Dustin scene in Season 3, when he returns from Camp No. Dustin was upset that his friends didn't come to welcome him. When he got home, Elle used her telekinetic powers to start a robot toy parade that sort of freaked Dustin out. He followed the robots with a can of hairspray, and when they stopped, the gang jumped out screaming, surprise! Dustin was more freaked out than surprised, and he sprayed Lucas in the face with his hairspray. I don't think Lucas will be holding any surprise placards in a long while. Just a few scenes after his welcome home surprise, Dustin tells the gang about how he can talk with his girlfriend at any range as far as the North Pole to the South Pole. The distance doesn't get the gang's attention. They couldn't get over the fact that Dustin had a girlfriend, and they were so eager to talk to her, of course, to confirm if she actually existed. Up next is the scene where Hopper saw Mike and Elle doing what teenagers love to do, hanging out and kissing. He has a meltdown, and he walks into the bedroom. During the production, the scene took quite a while to film because it was so funny, and Hopper couldn't say his lines properly. He was supposed to have a serious talk with the kids. Mike tried to play it cool by saying, uh-oh, I think we're in trouble. Hopper says, your mom called. She needs you home. I think it's something about your grandmother. Well, that was a big fat lie. When they got to the car, he confessed to Mike and said, there's nothing wrong with Nana, but there is something very wrong with this thing between you and Elle. I guess we could say he grew pretty sick of seeing the lovebirds all cuddled up. The next funny scene was where Steve met Dustin when he returned. We see a true and funny friendship in this scene. Dustin asked Robin about Steve, and right after, Steve came in screaming, Henderson! They were both super excited to see each other, and they shared a warm and funny greeting while Robin just stood there and watched them. When they were finished with their display, Robin just had to ask Steve, how many children are you friends with? Dustin told Steve about his new girlfriend Susie and how she said kissing is better without teeth. All Steve could say was, wow. Two good friends doing some catch-up after a while apart always ends up hilarious. Next is the scene where Hopper had a wrong thought. He stormed into Elle's room screaming, when I say 3 inches, 3. Little did he know, Elle was in there with Max, and they were only lying on the floor and reading magazines. The girls just replied, do you knock? Jeez. Yeah, jeez. I think we all know why Hopper barged into Elle's room in that manner. He must have thought it was Mike and Elle behind the closed door, and he certainly was not having it with their love story at the time. Our next scene to make the cut is from Season 3, Chapter 4, The Sauna Test. The scene shows Robin and Dustin trying to convince Erica to join their cause and help them get through the Russian security, but she called their plan child endangerment. Dustin says, "We think these Russians want to do harm to our country. Great harm. Don't you love your country?" And the little sass queen goes, "You can't spell America without Erica." At this point, she has Dustin's mind blown. He goes on to try and convince her to help, but she sees it differently. Erica tells them that they will work with capitalism and they would have to pay her for her valuable services. You wouldn't believe what her price was. Free ice cream for life. The kid sure knows how to strike a fair deal. The next funny scene is from season 1, chapter 6, The Monster. In this scene, Troy and James threaten Dustin with a switchblade, saying they would cut out his teeth if he didn't jump off the cliff. While the kids were still trying to get Dustin to jump, Elle shows up and uses her powers to break Troy's arm and knock James to the ground. Right before they ran away, Troy screamed, "She broke my arm! My arm!" But Dustin was having the best moment and he yelled out, "Yeah, that's right, you'd better run. She is our friend and she's crazy." Next is the scene where Mr. Scott Clark meets Eleven for the first time. Mr. Clark came across the boys and Elle when they were trying to get into the AV room to use the radio. The boys told him they needed some alone time and he sympathized with them and agreed to allow them to use the radio if they attended the assembly for Will. Just as they were about to leave, Mr. Clark noticed Elle and asked who she was. Their confused replies made the scene more hilarious. When he asked her for her name, the guy said her name is Eleanor and she is Mike's second cousin. Clark goes on to ask where she was from and Elle answers by saying bad place. But the boys quickly pitch in and say she is from Sweden and she hates it there because it is just as cold as Sub-Zero. Jim Hopper is one funny character in Strange Things, and that is why our next scene features his lines. In the first episode of season 1, we see Hopper walking into his office and one of the cops says, "Damn, you look like hell, Chief." And Hopper replies saying, "Oh yeah? Well, I look better than your wife when I left her this morning." Also in the first episode, when he received a report of a monster in Hawkins, his reply was quite hilarious. He said, "This is Hawkins, okay? You want to know the worst thing that has ever happened here in the 4 years I've been working here? It was when an owl attacked Eleanor Gillespie's head because it thought it was a nest." Hopper gives us another funny joke in season 1, chapter 8. Someone asked him, "You leaving already, Chief?" And he goes, "Oh, come on, you think I actually wanted to come to this thing? I was just hungry." And the person says, "Oh yeah, that's the spirit." Hopper's final reply was, "Well, your wife doesn't have time to cook for me. You know what I'm saying?" Hopper is one emotional character who is serious most of the time, but when he's in his moment, you will certainly get a good laugh from him. Next is the scene where Dustin is trying to get into the secret room through the air vents. He told Steve that he could fit into the air vents because he had no collarbones due to his medical condition, cleidocranial dysplasia, that affected the development of his teeth and bones. While trying to crawl up the air vents, Steve had to push Dustin. He started by pushing his feet, but that didn't seem to work, so Dustin says, "Not my feet, dumbass, push my ass." At this point, Steve is confused, and he replies with, "What?" Dustin yells out, "Touch my butt! I don't care!" The next funny scene was where Dustin and Steve were at the mall on their Operation Find Evil Russians mission. They could not exactly tell what an evil Russian would look like, so when they see a guy who looks intimidating with blonde hair and a duffel bag, they assume that he is an evil Russian. Their assumptions changed when their supposed evil Russian pulled out a stereo out of his duffel bag. It turns out he was just an aerobic instructor. We certainly don't forget the scene where Steve gave Dustin a pep talk before the snowball dance. Steve said to Dustin, "You are gonna go in there, look like $1,000,000, and you are gonna slay him dead." And Dustin's reply was, "Like a lion, purr." Good thing he had Steve there with him to tell him not to do that. That is a wrap for today's video. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Stick around for more exciting videos we have to show you.